Chapter 41. Chapters on Knowledge. Chapter 1. When Allah wants good for a slave, He gives him understanding in their religion. Narrated Ibn Abbas, that the Messenger of Allah said, "For whomever Allah wants good, He gives him understanding in their religion." Great Sahih. Chapter 2. The virtue of seeking knowledge. Narrated Abu Huraira, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever takes a path upon which to obtain knowledge, Allah makes the path to paradise easy for him." Great Sahih. Narrated Anas bin Malik, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever goes out seeking knowledge, then he is in Allah's cause until he returns." Great Da'if. Narrated Abdullah bin Sakbara, narrated that the Prophet said, "Whoever seeks knowledge, he is atoning for what has passed of sins while doing so." Great Da'if. Chapter 3. What has been related about concealing knowledge. Narrated Abu Huraira, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever is asked about some knowledge that he knows, then he conceals it, he will be bridled with bridle of fire." Great Hassan. Chapter 4. What has been related about exhortation regarding one who seeks knowledge. Narrated Abu Harun al-Abdi. We went to Abu Sa'id, and he said, "Welcome with the exhortation of the Messenger of Allah. Indeed, the Prophet said, surely the people are followers of you, and men will certainly come to you from the regions of the earth to gain understanding in the religion. So when they come to you, exhort them with good." Great Da'if. Narrated Abu Harun al-Abdi from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, that the Prophet said, "Men will come to you from the direction of the east to learn. So when they come to you, then exhort them to good." He said, when Abu Sa'id saw us, he would say, "Welcome with the exhortation of the Messenger of Allah. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him and his family." Great Da'if. Chapter 5. What has been related about knowledge leaving. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Indeed, Allah does not take away knowledge by removing it from the people, but He takes away knowledge by taking the scholars until there remains no scholar, and the people begin to ask the ignorant leaders, so they give their verdict without knowledge. They will go astray and lead the people astray." Great Sahih. Narrated Jubair bin Nufayr from Abu ad-Darda, who said, "We were with the Prophet when he raised his sight to the sky. Then he said, 'This is the time when knowledge is to be taken from the people, until what remains of it shall not amount to anything.' So Ziyad bin Labid al-Ansari said, 'How will it be taken from us while we recite the Quran? By Allah, we recite it, and our women and children recite it.' He said, 'May you be bereaved of your mother, O Ziyad. I used to consider you among the fuqaha of the people of Al-Madinah. The Tawrah and Injil are with the Jews and Christians. but what do they avail of them? Jubair said, So I met Ubadah bin as-Samit and said to him, Have you not heard what your brother Abu ad-Darda said? Then I informed him of what Abu ad-Darda said. He said, Abu ad-Darda spoke the truth. If you wish, we shall narrate it to you about the first knowledge to be removed from the people. It is Kushu. Soon you will enter the congregational Majid, but not see any man in it with Kushu. Great Sahih. Chapter 6. About one who seeks the world with his knowledge. Narrated Ibn Ka'b bin Malik from his father that he heard the Messenger of Allah saying, Whoever seeks knowledge to contend with the scholars, or to use it to argue with the fools, and to have people's faces turned towards him, then he shall be admitted to the fire. Great Da'if. Narrated Ibn Umar that the Prophet said, Whoever learns knowledge for other than the sake of Allah, or intends by it other than Allah, then let him take his seat in the fire. Great Da'if. Chapter 7. What has been related about the encouragement to convey what is heard. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Aban bin Uthman from his father, who said, Zayd bin Thabit left to go to Marwan during the middle of the day. We said, He did not send for him during this hour except to ask him about something. So we got up to ask him, and he said, Yes, he asked us about something we heard from the Messenger of Allah. I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, May Allah gladden a man who hears a hadith from us, so he memorizes it until he conveys it to someone else. Perhaps he carries fiqh to one who is more understanding than him, and perhaps the one who carries the fiqh is not a faqih. Great Sahih. Narrated Simak bin Harid. I heard Abdur Rahman bin Abdullah bin Masud narrating from his father, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, May Allah gladden a man who hears something from us, so he conveys it as he heard it. Perhaps the one it is conveyed to is more understanding than the one who heard it. Great Sahih. Narrated Abdul Malik bin Umair from Abdur Rahman bin Abdullah bin Masud that he narrated from his father, from the Prophet, who said, May Allah beautify a man who hears a saying of mine, so he understands it, remembers it, and conveys it. Perhaps he carries the fiqh to one who has more understanding than him. There are three with which the heart of a Muslim shall not be deceived: sincerity in deeds for Allah, giving nasiha to the aima of Muslims, and sticking to the Jama, for indeed the call is protected from behind them. Great Sahih. Chapter 8. What has been related about the gravity of lying against the Messenger of Allah. So, narrated Abdullah bin Masud that the Messenger of Allah said, Whoever lies upon me, then let him take his seat in the fire. Great Sahih. Narrated Ali bin Abi Talib, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Do not lie upon me, for indeed whoever lies upon me, he will be admitted into the fire." Great Sahih. Narrated Anas bin Malik, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever lies upon me, I think he said purposely, then let him take his seat in the fire." Great Sahih. Chapter 9. What has been related about whoever reports a hadith which knows is a lie. Narrated Al-Mughira bin Shuba, that the Prophet said, "Whoever narrates a hadith from me which he knows is a lie, then he is one of the liars." Great Sahih. Chapter 10. What saying has been prohibited regarding the hadith of the Prophet saw. Narrated Ubaydullah bin Abu Rafi, from Abu Rafi and others, from the Prophet, who said, "Let me not find one of you reclining on his couch when a command I ordered, or a prohibition from me comes to him, and he says, 'I do not know. What we find in the book of Allah, we follow it.'" Great Sahih. Narrated Al-Mikdam bin Madikarib, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Lo, soon a hadith from me will be conveyed to a man while he is reclining on his couch, and he says, 'Between us and you is Allah's book, so whatever we find in it that is lawful, we consider lawful, and whatever we find in it that is unlawful, we consider it unlawful. Indeed, whatever the Messenger of Allah made unlawful, it is the same as what Allah made unlawful." Great Hassan. Chapter 11. What has been related about it being disliked to write down knowledge. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, we sought permission from the Messenger of Allah for writing, but he did not permit us. Great Sahih. Chapter 12. What has been related about permitting that. Narrated Abu Huraira, there was a man among the Ansar who would sit with the Messenger of Allah, and he would listen to the ahadith of the Prophet, and he was amazed with them, but he could not remember them. So he complained about that to the Messenger of Allah. He said, "O Messenger of Allah, I listened to your ahadith, and I am amazed, but I cannot remember them." So the Messenger of Allah said, "Help yourself with your right hand," and he motioned with his hand as if writing. Great Da'if. Narrated Abu Huraira, that the Messenger of Allah gave an address, so he mentioned a story in the hadith, and Abu Shah said, "Have it written for me, O Messenger of Allah." So the Messenger of Allah said, "Write it for Abu Shah." Great Sahih. Narrated Hammam bin Munabi, that they heard Abu Huraira say, "None of the companions of the Messenger of Allah narrated more ahadith from him than me, except Abdullah bin Amr, for he used to write them down, and I did not write." Great Sahih. Chapter 13. What has been related about narrations from the children of Israel. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr, that the Messenger of Allah said, convey from me, even if it be an ayah, and narrate from the children of Israel, and there is no harm. And whoever lies upon me purposely, then let him take his seat in the fire." Great Sahih. Chapter 14. What has been related about the one who leads to good is like the one who does it. Narrated Anas bin Malik. A man came to the Prophet to get a mount, but he did not have anything to mount him on with him, so he was led to another person to give him a mount. He came to the Prophet to inform him about that, and he said, "Whoever leads to good, he is like the one who does it." Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Masud al-Badri. That a man came to the Prophet looking for a mount. He said, "Mine has been ruined." So the Messenger of Allah said, "Go to so and so." So he went to him, and he gave him a mount. The Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever leads to good, then for him is the same reward as the one who does it or who acts upon it." Great Sahih. Narrated Abu Musa al-Ashari. That the Prophet said, "Intercede and you will be rewarded, and Allah will fulfill what He wills upon the tongue of His Prophet." Great Sahih. Narrated Abdullah bin Masud. That the Messenger of Allah said, "No soul is wrongfully taken, except that some of the burden of its blood is upon the son of Adam, because he was the first to institute murder." Great Sahih. Chapter 15. Whoever calls to guidance and is followed, or to misguidance. Narrated Abu Huraira. That the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever calls to guidance, then he receives the reward similar to the reward of whoever follows him, without that diminishing anything from their rewards. And whoever calls to misguidance, then he receives of sin similar to the sins of those who followed him, without that diminishing anything from their sins." Great Sahih. Narrated Ibn Jarir bin Abdullah from his father that the Messenger of Allah said, "Whoever starts a good tradition which is followed, then for him is a reward, and the likes of the rewards of whoever follows him, there being nothing diminished from their rewards. And whoever starts a bad tradition which is followed, then for him is the sin, and the likes of the sins of whoever follows him, there being nothing diminished from their sins." Great Sahih. Chapter 16. What has been related about adhering to the Sunnah and staying away from innovation. Narrated Al-Idbad bin Sariya. One day after the morning Salat, the Messenger of Allah exhorted us to the extent that the eyes wept and the hearts shuddered with fear. A man said, "Indeed, this is a farewell exhortation. So what do you order us, O Messenger of Allah?" He said, "I order you to have taqwa of Allah and to listen and obey. Even in the case of an Ethiopian slave, indeed, whomever among you lives, he will see much difference. Beware of the newly invented matters, for indeed they are astray. Whoever among you sees that, then he must stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided Khulafa. Cling to it with the molars." Great Sahih. Narrated Kafir bin Abdullah and he is Ibn Amr bin Auf al-Musani. Narrated from his grandfather, that the Prophet said to Bilal bin al-Harith, "No," he said, "I am ready to know, O Messenger of Allah." He said, "That indeed whoever revives a sunnah from my sunnah which has died after me, then for him is a reward similar to whoever acts upon it, without diminishing anything from their rewards. And whoever introduces an erroneous innovation, which Allah is not pleased with, nor his messenger, then he shall receive sins similar to whoever acts upon it, without that diminishing anything from the sins of the people." Great Da'if. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Messenger of Allah said to me, "O my son, if you are capable of waking up in the morning and ending the evening, while there is nothing of deception in your heart for anything, then do so." Then he said to me, "O my son, that is from my sunnah. Whoever revives my sunnah, then he has loved me, and whoever loved me, he shall be with me in paradise." Great Da'if. Chapter 17. Regarding refraining from what has prohibited by the Messenger of Allah. Regarding refraining from what was prohibited by the Messenger of Allah. Narrated Abu Huraira, that the Messenger of Allah said, "Leave me with what I left you. When I narrated a hadith to you, then take it from me. The people before you were only destroyed by their excessive questioning and disagreeing with their prophets." Great Sahih. Chapter 18. What has been related about the scholar of Al-Madinah. Narrated Abu Salih reported a narration from Abu Huraira. "It shall soon be that people are beating the livers of camels," meaning that they are hastening and traveling upon them, seeking knowledge, but they will not find anyone more knowledgeable than a scholar of Al-Madinah. Great Da'if. Chapter 19. What has been related about the superiority of fiqh over worship. Narrated Ibn Abbas. That the Messenger of Allah said, "The faqih is harder on shaitan than 1,000 worshippers." Great Da'if. Narrated Qais bin Kafir. A man from Al-Madinah came to Abu ad-Darda when he was in Dimashq. So he said, "What brings you, my nephew?" He replied, "A hadith reached me, which you have narrated from the Messenger of Allah." He said, "You did not come for some need." He said, "No." He said, "Did you come for trade?" He said, "No, I did not come except seeking this hadith." So he said, "Indeed, I heard the Messenger of Allah saying, whoever takes a path upon which he seeks knowledge, then Allah makes a path to paradise easy for him. And indeed the angels lower their wings in approval to the one seeking knowledge. Indeed, forgiveness is sought for the knowledgeable one by whomever is in the heavens and whomever is in the earth, even the fish in the waters. And superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like the superiority of the moon over the rest of the celestial bodies. Indeed, the scholars are the heirs of the prophets, and the prophets do not leave behind dinar or dirham. The only legacy of the scholars is knowledge. So whoever takes from it, then he has indeed taken the most able share. Great Da'if. Narrated Ibn Ashwa from Yazid bin Salama al-Jufi. He said, Yazid bin Salama, O Messenger of Allah, I heard so many narrations from you that I am afraid the last of them will cause me to forget the first of them. So narrate a statement to me that will encompass them. So he said, have taqwa of Allah with what you learn. Great Da'if. Narrated Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, two things will not be together in a hypocrite: good manners and fiqh in their religion. Great Da'if. Narrated Abu Umama al-Bahili. Two men were mentioned before the Messenger of Allah, one of them a worshipper and the other a scholar. So the Messenger of Allah said, the superiority of the scholar over the worshipper is like my superiority over the least of you. Then the Messenger of Allah said, indeed Allah, His angels, the inhabitants of the heavens and the earths, even the ant in his hole, even the fish, say salat upon the one who teaches the people to do good. Great Hassan. Narrated Abu Sayyid al-Khudri that the Messenger of Allah said, the believer will never be satisfied with the good he hears until he ends up in paradise. Great Da'if. Narrated Abu Huraira that the Messenger of Allah said, the wise statement is the lost property of the believer, so wherever he finds it, then he is more worthy of it. Great Da'if.